And now it's time for our weekly energy update with Dan McTeague, President of Canadians for Affordable Energy. Over to you, Dan.
Well, thank you for that, David. We are now approaching the middle part of February, and there'll be no St. Valentine's Day hearts going out to folks having to fill up at the pumps. It looks like the long-term assumptions about gas prices going much lower and energy prices dropping in 2024 were greatly exaggerated and misplaced. I wasn't one of them, but I do believe there were others who are experts who said that we would see gas prices dropping in 2024 would be more affordable than 23. Nothing could be further from the truth. Point about predicting gas prices, which I pioneered back almost 28 years ago, is that long-term predictions are predictably wrong. And for that reason, even a week can make a big difference. And that has happened certainly here in Canada, where we've seen prices surge, especially out in Western Canada. So let's start with Vancouver, which hasn't seen much of a change. The impact of the Parkland refinery closing has only had a bit of a minor impact. That's because they're drawing a lot of their gasoline from Alberta and, of course, from the U.S. West Coast to make up the difference. So far, so good. That won't last, especially on the U.S. West Coast, because, of course, there are refinery problems there. That means that gas prices in Vancouver, Lower Mainland, will remain in the $1.70, maybe $1.72 range for the week ahead. But the BC interior, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and even the small northwest swath of Ontario, which includes Thunder Bay and Dryden, they will continue to see elevated prices, much higher than most, I think, are very comfortable with. And even though Manitoba has dropped its provincial sales tax, $1.20 to $1.25 isn't going to work. So let's start with Alberta. Calgary, you're seeing prices at $1.36 and $1.34 in Edmonton. Those prices are going to go up yet another 8 cents a liter this weekend. That's because all of our prices in Western Canada, the area that I've defined, is in fact monitored and follows the U.S. Midwest market out of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And we've seen prices there just in the past week alone as a result of the closure of the BP Whitting plant just outside of Chicago, the biggest one in the U.S. Midwest, third or fourth largest one in the United States. A week ago, the wholesale prices there were about $1.78 a gallon. I'm just looking today; they're now pushed up towards about $2.30, $2.26 a gallon. So that big increase is one of the main reasons why we've seen that corresponding increase of what will be by Saturday or Sunday this week across much of Western Canada, a net increase of about 18 or 19 cents a liter. And it's going to remain there because that plant is not expected to get back online for at least a few weeks. Let's go to Ontario, where they have seen prices move up. We've seen prices go as low as $1.40 last week, back up now to $1.52.9 for Saturday. It looks like it's probably going to come down a penny or so on Sunday, but watch out for next week. What's happening now, as far as the New York Mercantile Exchange is concerned, New York Harbor prices, is that we're seeing upward pressure. That's because there was a surprise revelation this week. Distillate, that is diesel, and gasoline inventories dropped dramatically. And that means, of course, that not only experts, but investors have been seriously underestimating demand. Very strong in the United States with lower gas prices and a strong economy. And they have been seriously overestimating the amount of supply. It looks like supply is a lot tighter than everyone is more comfortable with. And that means that even though it is still winter, we are shockingly going to see a period of time where we're not building inventories, we're actually draining inventories. And what that means, David, is that we're going to see a very expensive spring, even before the federal government carbon tax kicks in, even before the second carbon tax starts to have an effect in many provinces that currently don't have it, other than British Columbia and a few Atlantic provinces. All of these things are going to conspire to make things very expensive for Canadians. So Ontario, look for about a 2-cent increase net to 153.9. 12 cents a liter more, so 165 for Montreal and Quebec. And for the Maritimes, which saw a 3-4 cent decrease in gasoline and diesel, look for that to reverse itself next Thursday and Friday. That's because we're going to see a 3 to 4 cent increase in gas prices for those regions. Putting it all together, it really means that those who have estimated that energy prices would drop in 2024 didn't just get it wrong, they got it wrong by a long shot. And geopolitical tensions, which continue to rear their head, not just in Ukraine, Russia, but also, of course, in the Middle East. This thing could go a lot worse, could get a lot worse. And with a lot of countries holding back their production, and countries like Canada not able to produce more because of pipeline limitations, well, you can see what's going to happen. Let's hope the Canadian dollar starts to rise, but it hasn't. It hasn't responded to therapy. Green policies have made energy policies and energy prices that much more expensive. We'll talk next week and bring a better update as to where we're going for the end of the month, David.